Commander. In light of the recent extraterrestrial incursion, this Council of Nations has convened to approve the activation of the XCOM project. You have been chosen to lead this initiative, to oversee our first and last line of defense. Your efforts will have considerable influence on this planet's future. We urge you to keep that in mind as you proceed. Good luck, Commander.
XCOM Enemy Unknown puts us in a grim and rather dangerous environment right at the start. A UFO has crashed into the Earth, killing civilians in its way, and obviously, now we have to go and save the entire planet. Easy. I've started playing the game even though I have never played any of the XCOM series on the Ironman mode. The Ironman mode means that the game is saved automatically and every decision made during the game affects the ending, which results in a highly dynamic gameplay. The game itself is a TBS, turn-based strategy game that combines tactical shootouts and resource gathering. And I use this term really loosely here, because you don't actually gather minerals or anything like that, but the more you help the Council of Nations, the more income you get and must spend it wisely. Right at the first mission I was blown away. A stunning cinematic sequence introduced me to the world of XCOM, where one of my soldiers finds a man in a bus stop with his guts all over the floor. Not a pretty sight, to say the least. As my intelligence officer directs me to the building to the north, a man controlled by one of the aliens is revealed and, surprise surprise, kills one of my soldiers. Now I'd like to note that the soundtrack made for the aliens is rather old-fashioned but unique in a way. It is a collection of chromatic sounds made especially to differ the extraterrestrials from the humans. Besides, the entire game is packed with quality soundtrack and voice acting, though all of my soldiers from my international team speak with a perfect American accent. Anyway, back to the game. After one of my soldiers dies, the squad gets surrounded by these little aliens called the sectoids. And needless to say, they kill off another 2 members of the squad, leaving just 1 soldier to prevail, our hero. We don't really see many games from this genre, a tactical turn-based gameplay where a small mistake may cost the life of a soldier, and when you lose a soldier you need to hire a new one. Hiring soldiers and upgrading them with weapons and armor costs money, and money is a tough thing to get when the world is being invaded by the aliens. Not only that, but as the commander of the XCOM initiative, I have to take care of our underground base. Dig deeper and construct more facilities, which costs more and more as you progress through the game. The entire aspect, in my opinion, is a perfect combination between a tactical shooter and a strategy game, and this fact alone makes this game absolutely brilliant. Don't get me wrong, the graphics are pretty good for this kind of game, but somewhere I feel like they could have made it just a tiny bit better. Not anything in particular, it just feels in a general mood that they could have stepped up a notch. The engine uses NVIDIA's PhysX, so if you have a card that supports this feature, you might enjoy the visuals a little bit more than on the ATI cards. And if you pre-ordered the game, then you must have gotten the Elite Soldier Pack. It's not much, but it includes the classic XCOM soldier, which sees the iconic soldier from the XCOM UFO defense return fully modernized, Soldier Deco Packs, which offer aesthetic upgrades including the new Hyperion and Reaper soldier armor kits and complete color customization for your squad. The campaign so far has been exciting. I haven't finished the game yet, but I can safely say that this game gets a really high ranking in my book. The fights may not be as fast-paced as some of us would like, but the decision-making makes you break a sweat quite often as you're constantly trying to stop the alien spread across the world. I can't really find anything bad about this game, even if I try really hard, and saying that it is repetitive wouldn't really show anything bad about it, as most of the games today are. Even though I don't really play TBS games, this one had me hooked. On my first run I played for about 10 hours before I took a break, and that's gonna mean something. Now let's talk about the multiplayer. The multiplayer has a simple equation to it. Gain points, expand your squad, and make the right decisions. You first start off with about 10,000 points to create your first squad, which is barely sufficient for 3 soldiers, just so you have an idea on the scale of things. There are a few options to choose from before you play. I chose the quick match options just to see what it's all about. When creating a squad, you can mix and match between all the characters you meet during the game, even have different species on the same team. The match starts as you absolutely have no idea what your opponent has or if he or she is strong enough to just wipe the floor with you. Luckily, I was able to win this match with only 3 soldiers, while the other guy had the maximum amount of soldiers per squad. There's nothing really complicated in a turn-based multiplayer game, but it's still rather a nice game to play online. It is sort of like chess, only with cooler weapons and less boring. The major pros that got me hooked on this game were the excellent voice acting and the sweeping story, combined with a really cool gameplay that requires thinking and advanced planning, but maybe that's just me. As I said, I haven't played any of the XCOM series before, so maybe this is why I can look at this with a fresh look. The major con would probably be the rather tricky mouse controls. When you order a soldier to move, everything is nice and peachy, but when you try to aim a grenade or a rocket launcher, for some reason, it wouldn't just stop moving. But then you just use the WASD keys for better aim. There were already a few bugs in the game, one of which just got me stuck in the research lab without being able to do anything. I overcame this obstacle rather easily by pressing every single button on my keyboard. Anyway, this is definitely a must-have title even if you don't like DBS games, and I think you can't judge this game from just watching reviews and gameplay videos. You must try it for yourself. You can purchase this game at ugkeys.com with a nice 15% discount.